been just in your shoes 1 year back. We were all CAT aspirants back then who had scored, and we were eagerly waiting for that single call to convert it and be here in these shoes. So we totally understand what you're going through at this moment, and that is why we are here. We'll try our best to help you and empathize with you and guide you in sailing through these times so that you can make the best out of it. And to go with the introductions, I'm Shalini Kandan. I'm an engineer with 3 years of work experience. I had worked as a software developer for 2 years, and then I had 1 year of digital marketing experience. And I'm an absolute marketing enthusiast. We're all students of PGP1. We're in the first year right now.
To continue with the introduction, myself Prateek Rawal. I come from city of Panipat. I graduated from Delhi College of Engineering in IT background, and I worked at city for around 3 years, and here at IIM Lucknow last year only. Over to you, Tamish.
So, hi everyone, I'm Tamish Kapoor. I'm from Haryana, and I'm an agricultural graduate. I've done my own venture for a few years before coming to IIM Lucknow, and I'm currently pursuing the PGP-ABM program of IIM Lucknow. And yeah, all your questions are welcome.
Hi everyone, I am Sarthak Tita, and I belong to the town of Jamnagar in Gujarat. And I am a chartered accountant by profession, and I did my feature is into retail garments. And yeah, feel free to ask any questions related to the finance or commerce.
Hello, so my name is Chandana, and I am also a student of PGP at IIM Lucknow. So I'm from Bangalore, and before coming here, I was working at Robert Bosch as a software engineer. And of course, any questions that you have, we'll try to address it. So please feel free to ask anything, any small doubt also that you guys are facing.
All right, so we'll get started with the questions that you guys had asked us, and we'll address them one by one. Going with the first question from Abhay Agarwal, how to answer questions like why IIM Lucknow over other IIMs, specifically FMS, Kozhikode, and XLRI. So to tell the truth, every B school has its own flavor, is its own way of life, and there is something unique in every B school. So that is what you have to cash in on. You have to find out what that B school is known for. For example, at IIM Lucknow, we are known for our academic rigor. You'll be put through so much pressure in your first 3 months that after that, it'll be a very easy journey because you've been through that pressure, you've come out of it. That is the concept of a B school, right? To put you through multiple things so that you know what to prioritize and what to take up to become a good manager. So that is something that's unique to IIM Lucknow. And apart from that, this is a campus that promotes a lot of student ventures. I don't think any other IIM or any other B school for that fact promotes student ventures like ours does. We have close to 6-7 student run ventures. Students bid for it and run it for 1 whole year. So they do business hands-on. And another thing that makes IIM Lucknow unique is our pedagogy itself. We have case-based pedagogy and we have amazing professors here, and you collaborate in teams, and the diversity of classes, which is present in all B schools. But what makes IIM Lucknow stand apart is the academic rigor. And one of the main reasons why this came up was that IIM Lucknow in its initial years was mentored by IIM Ahmedabad. So the pedagogy and the way of life here is very similar to that. And that is something you get to experience here.
Next question is asked by A. Mathur, which is Abhishek Kumar. He says, I don't have first salary slip from my first company. However, I do have last salary slip and experience letter. Will that be sufficient? Because in the call letter, it is asked to bring first and last salary slip of all companies you have worked in. So Abhishek, I was also in similar situation as you are. So I didn't have my first salary slip. So what I did was like, since you already have experience letter, I asked the HR to get the experience letter, and while verification, that experience letter worked. Although to be on safer side, what I would recommend is to have a bank statement copy where you get your first salary, the entry that will be there, just a snapshot of that handy, so that in case if they ask for it, you can provide that. Else, I guess the experience letter would suffice.
So I would take the next question. So the next question is from Ishit, who asks that what are the commonly asked questions to fresher chartered accountants in interviews? The first question I would like to proceed. For the fresher chartered accountants, you need to be firstly, don't worry about the normal interviews that our chartered accountants can face. You just need to be clear with the basics that we had, mainly bifurcated into IPCC and finance. Whatever the basics of finance, mainly of the accounting knowledge and the finance knowledge that we had in SFM paper, that should be kind of skimmed through before interviews. And apart from that, nothing apart from that will be one major thing. Also, what I faced from my particular interview, I kind of asked questions related to mathematics, basic mathematics questions that we covered during our CAT preparations. So it was a pretty easy flow throughout the interview. So I feel that this particular thing doesn't need to be worried about that for a fresher chartered accountant. Can be a rigorous thing. So yeah, I hope that helps.
I'll take the next question. I think the next two questions are related to VAT. So, how much time do we get to write VAT essay? I think VAT as such was scrapped the last 2 years during CAT admission. So again, all the IIM, like every IIM has brought back VAT and like other GDs and all that. So I think as such we'll be given around 50 to 30 minutes, but the specific time limit will be given inside the call letter where with the schedule. So please go through the call letter what you have received from IIM Lucknow. You will get more information about the schedule and the time limit that you will be receiving to write an essay. And another question related to VAT was how should one go about the preparation for VAT and how much of a role will it play in admission? So I think VAT plays a very important role in admission. So we personally did not go through VAT because for us it was just online personal interviews. I think before PIs happen, VAT would be the first thing that would happen, and then it would proceed to PI. So I think VAT would play a very important role. So just focus on the common topics that are there, the common general knowledge topics like GK topics and the current affairs. So all the questions will revolve around these topics itself. So just go through everything that is happening in the past 2-3 months, and then what would happen in the next 2-3 weeks to keep reading the newspapers. And I think this would help in writing VAT. And then of course brush your skills, some grammar here and there. You can just read some books, which should also help your grammatical, vocabulary skills. I think that should be good to go.
Okay, so the next one is S. Harshita asks, how to justify if I have a gap year, just graduated in July 2022. So the point here is that first of all, you have to convince yourself that was it really a gap year? Were you not able to add any value to yourself in that whole year? Because I myself had the so-called gap year before I joined IIM Lucknow. So what you need to first convince yourself before convincing the interviewer that this year either you prepared for CAT, you must have done some other certifications, or you must have done something or the other to prove that it wasn't really a gap year and you were able to add some value to yourself or fill some career gaps in this year. So that is how you go about it. First of all, convince yourself and then go about convincing others that yes, it wasn't really a gap year.
Okay, going with the next question from Rajashekar. How to handle offline Lucknow interview? That is a really good question, I would say, because there are a lot of things that change from online to offline, right? Most of us have been used to the online world right now. When you give an offline interview, always be conscious of your conduct. Body language gives so much out about you than what you actually speak. So take care of your gestures, your postures, and your facial expressions, how you utilize the energy in your face, how interested you are in joining the institute. Everything matters, not just within the interview hall, but in the overall interview venue. When you're waiting, when you're speaking to people out there, and how do you behave in a group, everything matters. The interviewer is going to meet you only for those 15 or 30 minutes, but be conscious of how you behave. You do not have to act, but be polite and be a very accommodating person when you portray yourself to the interviewers. That matters quite a lot.
Okay, so the next question is from Kedar Gatani. He has asked a couple of questions. The first question is if you can give overview of CA related and BCom topics, it should be revised. And the second question is what should be known before an IML interview. So yeah, I will get to the first one. Mainly CA related, as I said, that whatever examinations that you have passed, for example, if you have cleared internal ICCC that we can call, mainly basics of financial management subject that paper that we have, that will suffice. And for the finance certificate financial management, and mainly overview of basics of financial reporting and a few laws that will be helpful also in the interviews. And yeah, coming to the BCom topics, the main criteria that I felt is you should be just thorough with the recent answers that you have just read and prepared. So that is something that you can focus on. And apart from that, the second question is what should be known before an IML interview. About IIM, I feel that if you can just skim through the location of Lucknow and somewhat about the Uttar Pradesh as a state, that will definitely help in the interview. Mainly, I remember that I was asked in my interview that, do you know the governor of Uttar Pradesh? So that was one offbeat question that I was thrown into. So just about the basic knowledge of Uttar Pradesh and Lucknow will definitely help you to score those brownie points that you can get, and that will definitely land you a candy in a offline interview. So yeah, make sure you get that.
Okay, so Bhanu Pratap Singh asked something on the chat. My graduation exams were conducted in October due to delay because of COVID. Still, this will be looked upon as a gap year. How to justify? Okay, so Bhanu, I don't think that will be looked upon as a gap year, since this was a delay in your graduation exams that are being conducted. So, and quite a few people must be there like you who have missed their exams, and quite a few universities are there which basically shifted their exams by a couple of months or maybe more than that. So you can obviously state what's the scenario was like, and I don't think that would be taken as something negative in your point of view. And as Samish said, like during that time you must have added some value to your self and to your curriculum vitae, so you can always justify it using that.
There is another doubt regarding procedure for VAT. So VAT, we did not really have VAT. It is actually Pakshal Mehta. So Pakshal, we did not really have VAT for IIM Lucknow, but I can share my experience for the VAT I gave for some other college. So the procedure of VAT is really simple. You are given a situation or a topic to write on, and a word limit is given to you. So just make sure that when you go for VAT, you have general current affair knowledge, because the topic is mostly based on the very current and burning affairs. Second, I think be very precise about the word limit, because that is what you will be judged upon, that how clearly are you able to express yourself in the given word limit. Be a bit conscious about your handwriting, because it will be handwritten. So the procedure is really simple. You will be given a situation and it will be very spontaneous. So just have some basic general knowledge and you'll be able to go through it.
All right, we have another interesting question. Hardik Pandya is asking, is IML literally the hell? Just read the book by Shubhra Halder. So I was in your shoes. I read that book, and to be honest, that book was what really convinced me to live this life, to come here and live this life, okay? It is hell in a sense that it puts you through uncomfortable situations, because I believe if you are in your comfort zone, you don't have any growth, you don't learn much there. So that is what IML does to you. It does the magic of throwing you in so many uncomfortable situations. It puts you through a lot of things. It's not just about academics. Any Bschool is not just about academics that you can have anywhere. It is the life beyond academics that you have here. For example, we have 38 clubs, committees, and all of that here. So you do a lot of work and you interact with 1,000 people living in the same campus. You form that network, and your relationship with professors also. All that molds you as a person, the life that you go through in here. You will have there will be time. It's not that you don't get time to chill at all. You will get time to chill. It's all about how you learn to prioritize things and how you manage things. And that is exactly what IML teaches you to learn. And it's hell in a way, but it's a beloved hell. That's what I would say.
Okay, thank you, Shalini. So the next question is asked by Inian. So the question is, fill the Google form attached with the interview call letter, but haven't got any response. Can you say about it? I think you'll be receiving responses shortly. So just wait for a couple of days. Until then, just keep preparing for your WAT and PI. The call will come. Sure.
We missed a question from Shivanand. Shivanand is asking, my 10th CBSE is 51%, UC Commerce is 57%, and BCom second year 89%. Will I have a chance for getting IIM Lucknow in 2024? What percentage should I have to achieve? Please say. So I think you're too early for for this session, but if we have to talk about next year, then next to next year, basically. So I think all those numbers that we have put, those are all fixed variables, right? There are fixed variables and there are the variables that can change. So the only changing variable you have is your CAT. So I think you should go ahead and put all your efforts for CAT without worrying about what all percentages you have, because they are anyways not going to change. So there is no dot number I can tell you that this percentage will get you into IIM Lucknow, but a lot of effort if you put in, then you'll surely make it to IIM Lucknow.
Adding to that answer, if you want a close estimate, every Bschool has on its website the calculation of their composite score. So that will tell you what is the weightage given for different aspects, like your 10 score, your 12 score, all of that. So put all your fixed variables in there, find out what is the composite score that you currently have, and also check the composite score which got into IIM Lucknow in the last year. That is also available on the net. That is an objective way of calculating. Okay, this kind of percentage, I think that calculation is very objective and you need not have any doubt on it based on the past year information and what your composite score adds up to. That will tell you how hard you have to work. And talking about this question from Satyata, why do you want to do MBA if you're already working as a business analyst, or why do you want to do MBA if you can learn things from your current job? So this was kind of relevant to me as well, because I was already into marketing. And when I say I wanted to do marketing in an MBA, this was something that will frequently be asked. But the real thing about an MBA is that it gives you accelerated growth. Your learning is also accelerated. There is I could have stayed in my job and learned marketing as well, but the kind of learning that I would have had would not be structured. I would have gone about randomly searching for things and getting that knowledge, which is not structured and which is not condensed into the needed format. An MBA does that for you. It gives you a very structured learning, and it's not just about the learning itself. You get exposed to different situations and you have a real life learning from a Bschool that gives you the real learning. And apart from that, career acceleration can be a reason, because the kind of roles that you get at IIM Lucknow are the roles that typically in a market a 10-year experienced person is going to get. So within these 2 years, you get all the skill set to accelerate your career by 10 years. This could be a reason for joining an MBA.
Another question is asked by Bhanu Pratap Singh. I have national and state certificate in volleyball, but those are from year 2017 and before. Will they still consider it? Of course, Bhanu, I also had my certificates when I appeared for PIs in 2022. So my certificates were backdated 2010 and 2011. So they've considered it, and it also added quite, in fact, in my PI, they asked a couple of questions related to that experience as well. So of course, do mention those achievements in your PI form that was given. And I would say prepare a good answers around that also. So that will certainly add value to your answers that you are giving. Next, Satyata is asking what to say for gap year question. I guess Tamish already covered that. So Satyata, you can maybe rewind this video clip and check the answer. Any other questions we left? Shalini,
I think there are some repeated questions. Why IIM over other IIMs? Why IIM Lucknow over other IIMs? I think Shalini covered this question. But yeah, as such, I think it's better you guys, do a research on why IIM Lucknow is known. You can, read our website, read more on our website, and see like what we offer. What is our offering that is better than the other IIMs? So, I mean, again, IML is also one of the top 4 B schools in India. So that also can be one of your answer. And just curate your answer, add a personal element of why you feel that IIM Lucknow is better than other IIMs. So I think that would help. Other than that, I think Shalini has already covered this. So if you guys have any other specific questions or any other questions, please feel free to put it in the Google form or on the chat. Will we receive or be able to review the recording of the session? Of course, I think an offline recording will be available for you.
So on the YouTube channel, you can
Yeah,
check this
on
video.
Inside IIM's YouTube channel, it will be available, the offline video.
Another question from Bhanu Pratap Singh. I have lived in 4 cities, but I was born and brought up in Indore. Should I prepare for all 4 cities or just Indore? I left Indore in 2016. Is there anyone who has similar experience here?
Very honestly speaking, okay, my native place is different and what I call my hometown is different. It's more about how your interview goes. Think of it from the interviewer's perspective. It's about what information you give them. Based on that, they're going to ask questions, right? So if they find something similar to their background, they're going to prod more on that. If not, that is when they go to current affairs and all these stuff to find something common to talk about. I would say know the basics because it didn't happen to me in IIM Lucknow, but in my NITI interview, it so happened that the interviewer knew my hometown much better than me itself. He went on asking, do you know there's a 5-floor sari shop in your city? What is that? And there is this area for workers. What are the stores that you can find there? If that person happens to know your city, you can be questioned. I'd rather say you have lived there, right? You know the city. What you know is enough. You need not extensively prepare, but know some basic stuff on what is the population there, what is the prime occupation. Every town has a prime occupation. Know these stuffs that are the USP of that city. Do some basic preparation. That is fine. You will not concentrate more on that.
Yeah, very thorough answer. Next question is asked by Satyata again. I have scored 90+ in 10th, 80+ in 12th, and 90+ in university. So how do I say the poor performance in 12th? What would they ask and how do I justify?
First of all, I'm very surprised that 80+ is now considered as poor performance. That is the thing. You have to feel, convince yourself that 80+ is not poor. It is comparatively low than what you scored in previous classes, but 80+ is not poor. So I don't think you have to justify it as such that why did your performance drop so much. So
okay, so I guess another question for Tamish, you can answer it better. What kind of subject questions will be asked to agriculture graduates?
see, agriculture graduates, basically you will be first of all asked about the farm laws and all the information related to that, like your opinion on it. So be thorough about, read about that whole time period, what the protests that happened, the farm laws in detail, what benefit they had, what cons they had, or anything related to that. So be very thorough about it. You won't be getting a lot of deep graduation questions from your subjects, because obviously the professor or anyone who might be interviewing you would not be very familiar with the agricultural subjects. So you don't need to worry much about that. But yes, you should revise the basic information of your agricultural graduation before sitting in the interview, and be thorough about the agricultural economy and agricultural GDP and all of those aspects about agriculture.
Right. There's a question from Hitesh Sharma asking, if you had an offer from ABC, would you still choose IML over it? I'm guessing you're asking, if this question is asked to you, what would be your answer? I'd say be very honest with the interviewers, because they are professors. They have so much of experience and they've seen different kinds of people. So they know the human mindset. It's okay to say, I may not choose your institute, or I may go for this institute because of this particular aspect that I like in this institute. But be very genuine and honest. Don't try to lie on their face. That is something that they won't appreciate, because what they're looking for in interviews is completely your emotional quotient, your EQ, how real you are as a person, how mature your thoughts are, and what kind of thoughts you have in your mind. So be very honest with them. Never try to lie to them, and give them substantiate every answer so that they're able to understand your perspective.
There's another question from Hardik Pandya. Will the interviewers look at the variation in SEM GPA in detail? I don't think they will look at your variation. I think the final CGPA will be what would matter. But then, even if you have a big drop or a big difference, just justify why that was there in the first place. Just be honest in whatever you're saying in the interviews, and also just be confident. Like whatever you're saying, tell it confidently. And if you don't know things, just tell them that you don't know, or you'll get back to them.
So,
But yeah, variation in SEM mostly won't matter.
to add to this, my interview was completely about the variations in my semester CGPA in my graduation. So I can completely relate to this question. My whole interview was around my semester CGPAs. So by that, they do not mean to demean you or to ask you that why is your performance fluctuating? They just want to see how do you react to it. So that is what you have to make sure, that you do not react very in a panicky. You have to stay calm. You have to tell them why your performance dropped. There might be some reason, like I gave my genuine reason that I was taking care of my own venture during my graduation. So that took a toll a bit on my academics, but then I recovered from it. So yeah, that was I think convincing enough for them. So just look for an answer that is convincing, and yes, this might happen.
Bucket of questions that I'm seeing here is like, I'm a CS background graduate. How do I prepare certain types of question? I am a BBA graduate, certain type of question, how I can prepare. So I would suggest you guys can refer to the PI kit that IIM Lucknow releases that has all the previous experience mentioned in there. So you can get a gist of what kind of questions are being asked. And there's a quite high chance that similar kind of profs, and so basically they check you on the similar lines as they check us. So it's always a better to check the previous past experience of the candidates that are there, what are their interview experience, and you can accordingly prepare your answers. And one extra tip there is to give a personal flavor to each of the answers that you are preparing. Don't prepare the direct answers that are there or the generic ones. Always give a very, very personalized answers to each and every generic questions that are even asked. Any addition to this?
Yeah, they're asking follow-up questions. Where can we get the PI kit? So yeah, you will be getting it soon. The team will release it in the next few days. So just wait for the email from IIM Lucknow team.
Yeah.
Right. There's another question from Ishit Doshi. What is a good manner to say that I don't know the answer to the question? Well, you can politely say that the first thing, if you are not absolutely sure about it, you can always say, I'm not sure of the answer. Can I make an informed guess? That is something you can try if they allow you. If they don't, you can certainly say that I have not come across this and I have not studied about this, but I will definitely read up about it after the interview. This could be a polite way of answering that question in case you don't know something.
Abhay Agarwal is saying, I have my interview on 25th Jan. So Abhay, I guess team is aware of interviews which are starting on 23rd. So they will release it in due time. Just have some patience.
And just before that, I can see a question from Hardik that is it okay to accept defeat and agree to what they are saying, like if you don't screw up right on any other topic. As we earlier mentioned, that you just need to be candid about it. The more you are candid and true to what you are saying, it is more acceptable. It's okay that you don't get into something, or like if you don't kind of go that particular, if the thing doesn't go very well for you, that doesn't mean that it's the end of the road. So just don't panic yourself and just look forward to the better things that you have in your hand.
Yeah, I think you just need to stay confident throughout the interview. Don't lose your cool, and you'll be good to go.
Any other questions, guys? Please shoot on the chat.
There is one question. Nandu, can some insights be given about how to give a proper introduction? To give a proper introduction, the first thing you have to keep in mind is don't say your name. They already know your name. They would probably be asking, Shalini, can you please introduce yourself? So be conscious of that. Don't start with your name. More than that, your form will have most of your achievements, your quantitative aspects, how much you've scored in your school, college, where did you study, all of that they already know. So don't repeat those stuff. Rather talk about personal qualities like I'm an inquisitive person, or I love playing so and so. These are my hobbies. Talk about your qualitative aspects and weave your life story into that. It is important to highlight certain things like you can talk about your positions of responsibilities. What were your learnings from that? These things, the qualitative things you can capture about it. To talk about the structure itself, you can say which place you are from, what background you have in a one line. Don't be very descriptive about it because it's in your form. And then you can talk about what your learnings were, or what was your life journey, what you learned, and what defined you as a person, what core values you have. Highlight all these aspects, and you can conclude with your hobbies or what you enjoy doing, or why even you thought of doing an MBA. These things could be what can be included in your introduction. Sarthak, you're on mute.
Okay. Okay. So one question is from Ishit, that what are the opportunities that IIM Lucknow has for to pursue entrepreneurship? So yeah, as I really relate with this question, that because I was also one of the person that was looking for this answer. Coming here, I can say that there are a few student-run bodies that we have. Also, there are a few club committees that promote entrepreneurship as a thing, and this is a very good culture that I believe, because we have events lined up throughout the year for to just cater to the hidden entrepreneur that you have, just to tap the many opportunities that you can pursue. Apart from that, the student run ventures that Shalini mentioned earlier, they are particularly total, the businesses are run by students itself, so that particularly gives you a first hand experience of running a business, and also to the struggles that a normal business faces. So that is one thing that is very much appreciable, and that experience really molds you in a way and gives you better learnings as to how you can pursue entrepreneurship in your future career.
Adding to that, we also have an in-house incubator called SIDBI. So even in those aspects, the institute is very supportive.
Apart from that, there is a alum fund that usually sponsors the ventures coming out of this our college. So you can also basically tap in that and make use of that fund to get your venture funded. So quite a few opportunities for pursuing entrepreneurship here.
So Hardik Pandya again asked, I had not included 10th grade achievements in my application. If I carry those, will it turn into a topic of discussion or would it backfire? See, we cannot predict what would turn into a topic of discussion or what would backfire in an interview at this point. But if you feel that those achievements would add a plus point to your candidature, then of course you need to carry it and mention it also during your interview. So it is totally left to you how you can justify those achievements and how you can drive the interview, based on how you can drive the interview towards those achievements. So again, it is totally left to you if it is in your good. So if you're confident enough that it would, help your candidature, then please carry it to the interview.
Satyata asked for some activities, event volunteering. I don't have certificates, so is it okay to tell that in the interview if we can't provide a proof? Yeah, be very, very honest about it and don't try to lie in the interviews. And if you have done some activities or volunteering experience, they will certainly know about it if you are basically lying there, or you genuinely have done that activity. So one suggestion, don't lie about anything, be very, very genuine and be confident in the interviews.
So there is a question from Sakshi related to the ABM program. I'm a BCom honors graduate and got shortlisted for the ABM program. Anything should be aware of while giving the interview? Any suggestions? So first of all, as you do not have a dedicated agricultural background, you should be aware about why do you want to actually pursue ABM. So just be aware about the agricultural aspect of management, or what are the future prospects about it, and what do you plan for yourself. So be ready with those answers. Nothing else special would be asked from you, as you do not have an agricultural background. So just be aware about why do you want to actually pursue this.
Nangu Me is asking what is a proper dress code for the interview. So last year when we gave our CAT interviews, even though it was online, we all sat in our business formals. So I think you guys also can sit in your business formals or at least casuals, business casuals. So that would include trousers and shirts for men, along with a blazer, and same for women. Or you can also go in a kurta or salwar suit. So just be properly groomed, and that should do. But yeah, it is also recommended that you can sit in your business formals.
So Hardik is again asking that you had forgotten to include 10th class achievements in the application. So if you can carry those in the topic of discussion, so you can actually turn that into a discussion. If that achievement is very close to you and you feel that that can drive your interview in a positive note, you should kind of mention it candidly in the interview. That will definitely help. So doesn't you don't need to worry as to if you have missed out anything while filling the form.
There are no more questions. Anything else you guys want to cover? Maybe last minute tips or something from your experience?
I think as such, my interview, they generally asked me about the current affairs. So at that time, it was the Ukraine war was going on, Ukraine-Russia war. So the interviewer asked me, like, what do you know about it? And he asked me questions about what is exported and what is imported between India and Ukraine. These are the kind of topics that they also would genuinely ask, like, what is actually going on right now. So just keep a lookout on the news or on the newspaper about what are the topics that are the current hot topic, and then just read through that and also do a background check on that. See, because Ukraine war, I had studied about the exports and imports, so I was able to answer. But so these kind of questions will be asked. So right now, if there's something going on, just do a background check, a background study on all that. And other than that, generally there'll be more than one panelist. So there might be like a very high chance that one of your interviewers might ask one kind of question and the other interviewer might ask a very different kind of question. So the second interviewer asked me about mathematics. So again, you need to just brush up your basic mathematics like derivatives, graphs, and all that. So, and this time it is offline too. So they might ask you to solve it and then show it to them. So just brush off all your derivatives, integration, and all those basic formulas. And I think then that is good to go. And I think some topics are, some questions are coming up again.
Just I want to add one thing since you mentioned news
Yeah.
and all. So my interview was completely based on the news that I saw. Basically, interviewer asked like, what was the first thing you saw in the paper today? And on Women's Day, my interview was scheduled. I mentioned there were a couple of articles, and post that, most 70% of my interview was lined up on how to reduce pay gap, what you saw in your firm, what actions you will take, what is your vision, what is your take on that. They gave me a scenario as well. They asked me about why in US also this is there, why in India, how can we overcome this in India, all these things. So 70% of my interview revolve around Women's Day, women empowerment, and how do we empower women during that. And it came from just like that, like today was Women's Day. This was this is how the things have gone there. So be
Yeah,
very,
I
very
think
cautious.
Yeah, so you are the ones who are driving the interview. So be very, very careful on what you're answering. And any answer you give, the interviewer is going to ask you further. Like he's going to ask you further questions on that. So be ready. When you are answering, you also be ready. Like what kind of questions you can expect from the interviewer. So again, even I'm not just saying about the current affairs, any other topic also, like your achievements. If you are telling an answer, be ready for any. Like when you are preparing itself, be ready, you just get prepared, like what kind of cross questions might come from the interviewer. So that would help. That is actually what helped me too. So one kind of question when you're answering, just think of what other questions can be asked. And there is one question regarding this itself, how about politics. So somebody asked, like, how do you answer questions on politics? Is it okay if we present our opinion on certain topics? I think it is perfectly okay if you're presenting your opinion. So just tell that this is what I feel. So Dhargave is asking, yeah, Satyata, you can just tell that this is my opinion on politics, and then you can give a justification of why that is your opinion. So they are open to listening to what your opinions are, and there's no right or wrong opinions, right? So feel free to give your opinions and just stay true your, to yourself, and of course, yeah, be confident. And there are a lot of other questions. I think the panel can take one by one.
So Hardik is asking, anyone among the panel who had the shortest interview, like 10 minutes? Mine lasted 8 minutes. So I think I have the
Same.
shortest interview here. So it's not about the duration of the interview, it's about how you present yourself, because my interview had the first 2 minutes for the introduction, the normal introduction, and the rest, all of the time I was asked about why my grades are fluctuating in my graduation. So it's not about the duration, it's about, they'll just test your temperament, that how do you react to a stressful situation when you are put in it. So just be very confident, just be very calm, and try to understand that it's not something that is going against you, it's something that is testing you, and you have to show your mettle, you have to show what kind of a temperament do you have. So that is the only way to handle a short interview.
All right, Hardik has another question. How to handle guesstimate questions? Like only approach should be good, or an approximate answer is also preferable. So for prep, it's always best to be exhaustive in your preparation. Practice a couple of guesstimates, see how it is done. Approach is always the focus in any guesstimate. But when you do a guesstimate, you can't just stop with approach. You will be expected to bring the numbers. So I would say practice everything. It completely depends on your interviewer and their mood at that time. Do they have the time, or do they not have the time? Focus more on approach, but practice numbers as well.
Indian is asking, I'm from engineering background, but my hobby is stock market. In how much depth did the interviewers will go? Indian, we can't really predict like how much in depth the interviewer will go. But one thing for sure is like if you are saying you are doing it as a hobby, so certainly they will not treat you like a professional or full-time stockbroker that is there. So be again very honest and tell them what you have done, what do you know about that. And even if they ask something, let's say very technical around that, then you can say whatever you know about that topic. If you know nothing, then you can take an estimated guess, as Shalini said, and politely tell them like you don't know about this thing.
Yeah, but be ready for cross questions and basic things about stock market. So if you are mentioning that in your interview, you will be asked cross questions on that. So just be prepared about the basics of stock market, and also like what drove you to start stock market, to invest in stocks and all that. So these are some of the questions that might pop up. So be ready for all such questions. And I think it's a plus point itself if you're mentioning your hobby, like that you are, doing stock market. So mention it, but then just be prepared with all the answers and cross questions that might come up.
Yeah, adding to that, I remember my interview experience as to I mentioned music as my hobby. So the interviewer went to the third line of questioning in my interview. So that was something which I was not expecting in that way. But in the hobby section also, they went into very deep questioning. So yeah, you can kind of expect. So I just want to say that you can be confident and just be candid and true to yourself as to what you like, and then only mention that particular thing in the form as well as in the interview.
Other than that, is it necessary to take up courses or mock interviews for clearing the WAT-PI? It's totally left to you. I mean, it is if you feel that you need courses or mock interviews from some any institute, then feel free to take it up. But if you feel that you can do it at home, then go ahead, because I never took any courses for VAT and PI. I prepared at home. So you have internet at your disposal. So Google what kind of topics they might ask, what kind of topics might be asked in VAT, and what kind of questions might be asked in PI. I think, as we said, IIM Lucknow will also release their VAT PI kit. So you can look at the previous year transcripts. You can see what kind of questions were asked before. Some questions may be repeated too. So you can prepare those questions accordingly. But I think the mostly what I would say is that you are the drivers of your interview. So what answers you are giving is where your interview will be driven. So be very careful on what you are answering. Other than that, it's totally left to you guys. If you want to take up courses or mock interviews, feel free to do that. Otherwise, as I said, internet is always there for your help.
Tamish, next question is for you.
Yeah,
They're
Hardik is asking, can you share what justification you gave for the variation in CGPA? So justification, be honest about it. If there was no particular reason for the fluctuation in your grades, be honest about it and tell them how you plan to further improve yourself to avoid those deviations. But like as I mentioned for myself, I was indulged into my own venture. I had to take care of it. So that is why there was a little deviation in my grades during the third year of my graduation. So I was very clear about it that I was not I lost my grades, but I also added some value to myself to compensate for it. So I shared that experience with them, that how was it to start my own venture, how was it, what all skills did I learn from it. So try to tell them that why that happened and what extra value did you add during that period of time. It may be sports, it may be anything of this world which you were doing or which led to that deviation.
All right, there is a repeated question from Sudarshanam. You have told that you're a fresher with gap year. That's totally fine as long as you are able to market yourself. It's all about making that impression, marketing yourself, right? If your CAT score is decent and if you are able to convince the professors that you would be a good fit in this classroom, then why not? You will definitely get your seat. It's all about justifying your gap year. What, like Tamish said, what value you added to your life in that particular period of time, and what value will you be adding to this classroom if you are given a chance here. That is all that you need to talk about to have them convinced.
So there's one more question from Satyata. What if we are stuck in between while answering any question? How to handle this? So if you are the one interviewing you would be seeing a lot of candidates, and a lot of us become nervous during answering questions, or we get stuck between answering questions. So take 5 seconds, take a deep breath, and I don't think it will create much difference to your interview. Try to be fluent, but if you are not, take a small gap, take a few breaths. If you want, keep there be, because this time it's offline, you will be having water by your side, so take a sip of water, and it won't be something that would hamper your interview.
Sakshi is asking, she got auto promoted in her college in fourth.
Pratik, you're on mute.
Pratik, you're on mute.
Okay, so she's saying that she got auto promoted in fourth semester due to COVID. Should she still be ready for questions related to those subjects? Sakshi, totally depends on what subjects are there and how you drive the interviews. So no interviewer is going to ask questions out of due related to those subjects. If you drive your interview, basically if you mention something like that or some subject name regarding that semester, they will certainly ask question. There is a high chance of getting that question at your way. If you drive interview in some other way, then there is huge chances that the questions will be asked according to that. As I previously mentioned, my interview was revolving around the news that was in the hot news that were there during that time. Same was for Chandana, and for Tamish it was the grades that were there. So certainly you will find the experience. If you read the experience of previous candidates, you'll get to know what interviewers are looking for. And as Shani mentioned, will you be able to create or add value to the class you are getting in? That's something they are looking at.
All right, there's another question from Ishit Toshi. What do you bring to IML? That is something you are supposed to answer, right? Do some introspection. What is unique about you and what kind of value you're going to add to a classroom? In my case, I was a working professional with 3 years of work ex, and I was in the B2B space. So I felt that not many people, my company was really small. We had only 250 employees and it was a very closely knit company. But something that I felt is People from large companies were not able to adapt in this small environment. So transitioning from small to big was easy, but transitioning from large to small was always difficult. And that experience was what was unique about me. And that was what I brought to the table. And likewise, if you're a fresher, the perspective, the different perspectives that you bring, if you're having a case discussion in the class, it's all about how you're able to bring different perspectives and see things from a 360-degree view. That is what you're going to bring to the table. And what is unique about you, your experiences, how is your perspective different from others? Think about it. You can always draw a web. That is something I used to do about my profile. Okay, what were my life decisions? Why did I do engineering? Why did I end up in that particular company? Why do I want to do MBA? Introspect all of that. Find out the real reasons, not the reasons that you say to people. Find out why you really did it, what kind of thoughts you had at that point of time. List down all the probable questions that you feel anyone can ask on your life, and then try to answer all of that. This will need 2 days of complete introspection and sitting and writing down, but that will give so much clarity about yourself. It did to me, and I hope it does to you as well. Okay, another one, Abha Mishra, anyone from electrical engineering? Yes, I am an electrical and electronics engineer. So which subjects do they ask generally? Again, subjective, it depends on whether the interviewer knows that subject or not. In my IML interview, there was no question regarding my electrical and electronics engineering, but in my IIM Code interview, I did have question. It happened that the interviewer was from a similar background, and she questioned me completely on what is a resistor, what is a capacitor, can you tell me what a piezoelectric generator is, what is a touch sensor, how does it work, and even Kirchhoff's law, all the basic stuff. Well, very honestly, they're not looking for the high-end stuff. It's okay if you don't know the high-end stuff, but your first year basics, your second year basics, know the very basics of the subject, because you've spent 4 years of your life in that. What have you derived out of it? Show them that you have the basic knowledge. Go back to your college subjects, watch YouTube videos, or take your notes back and read up about them and have them in fingertips. It is required. Prepare the very basics of your subjects.
Alik is asking, is static GK important or just the current affairs? So I would say know about the static GK for the city you are living in or the state and the institute you are applying. So if you are applying for IIM Lucknow, then know a bit about Lucknow and Uttar Pradesh. And obviously current affairs are very important. So similar in my case, I belong to city of Panipat. So the first question in 3 out of 5 interviews that I gave, or the follow-up question was, when did the 3 battles of Panipat was fought? So I have to answer this question. So that static GK, you need to learn basically something that relate to your hometown or the state or the city from which you have done your graduation. So you should know about them thoroughly, and obviously about the, if you are applying for IIM Lucknow, then know some basic things about IIM Lucknow and the Lucknow or Uttar Pradesh, who's the CM, who's the governor, all these things.
Okay, so the next question is from Dr. Alok Kapoor. He asked that if I was not good at my graduation and I have cracked CAT with my flying colors, how could it hamper the performance in future? I feel that this is not something that should be seen as a negative point. Well, we can present a story as to how you improved over the period of years and you have performed exceptionally well in the CAT, and this definitely shows how you have excelled in your career throughout the years that you have passed. So I feel that this particular story, and also you can mention a particular story that is personalized to you. So this was something that I could think on top of my mind right now. But definitely you can present this in a very positive and optimist way.
Okay, there's a question from Satyata again. She's asking, will they ask us to code? They will not ask you to code, don't worry. So, I mean, generally they'll just ask you conceptual based questions. So I don't think they will ask you to code or anything like that. So yeah, don't worry.
Yeah, they might ask you about the logic or the pseudocode.
Yeah.
How will you approach a problem? But certainly
Not
they're not
exactly the
going to
code.
ask you to write a code in Python or Java. I guess there are no more questions. Maybe we can wrap up here.
Yeah, I mean, let's just end with our experience at IML. and like how our journey has been. It's been 6 months for us since we are here at IIM. So maybe one or two of us can tell you guys how it has been. So it will give you guys also more clarity on why you want to join this institute.
So I'll start. For me, the journey was very, very beautiful, I would say, because I was certainly taken out of my comfort zone. I was working very comfortably in a very good organization, and coming from there and working uh, like I was having a sleep of 8 to 9 hours there and pursuing my hobbies and all. And here, when I get to know, like, those were the luxurious days when I used to get a proper sleep. Here, I have to work quite hard. There are tons of assignments, submissions, deadlines here, left, right, center, and the exams, quizzes. You literally can't find time for sit back and relax. Like, okay, because if one thing ends here, the next thing is already lined up. You have on your head, you have to do this, that. But again, you learn so much in all this rigor that certainly, if I look back in last 6 months, what all I have learned from the peers that are here and the tasks and the assignments or the subjects that I have read, certainly I would say it's quite learning opportunity for me, and I would always like to live this again. The past 6 months were really beautiful.
Yeah, just to add one thing to what Pratik said, as we know that we don't have time for, as he said, that we don't have time for ourselves. But I feel that in this particular journey where we don't have time for ourselves, I kind of find myself as to what I want actually in my future. So that is one thing that was a big question mark for me before joining MBA program. And now I kind of know that where to shape my career professionally and what do I actually want from my life. So that is one particular experience that I'll never forget, and I'll always be grateful for to this institute, that this was something that I was able to answer from this experience.
Other than that, I think we found people, all of us here don't have time. So without that, in that we actually make friends. So all of us are in the same, we are all in the same step over here. So the thing is, we all bond over that, we don't have time and all the rigor and everything. So, I mean, it's a very good experience. That's not having time also. We are never going to get these times back. So I think it has been really fun 6 months. We've got to learn a lot. Like, not that, like, we all stepped out of comfort zone. I think I'm speaking for all of us over here, where there has been situations where we have all stepped out of our comfort zones, and then we have excelled at it also. So if you guys are scared or anything, don't worry. We were all in the same, position when we joined here, but then we have changed for the greater good. So you guys also will find that experience here at IIM Lucknow. So we all wish you a very best of luck for your upcoming WAT and PI, and we hope we see you guys soon next year at IIM Lucknow.
I think we have scared them enough that they won't have time. But I think not having time is also sometimes good, because I've had a lot of idle time, and now when I'm here, I work, and I do not actually have time. I feel good, because it is something that is developing me into a better person. So do not be scared about not having time. You'll enjoy you'll enjoy it for sure, and all the best.
Personally, I think IIM Lucknow helped me bring back my old self. I used to be someone who was very, very active and very enthusiastic about the things and taking up things. That was my quality when I was in college. And all of a sudden, in office, I had mellowed down. I had blended with everybody, and my office had very like-minded people. So you get into that comfort zone. But coming back to IIM Lucknow, I think that is what exactly it has reversed. It has thrown me with. So there's such a diverse crowd you get to mingle with, and you learn something from each of them. And there is so it is so characteristic that it brought me out in terms of exploring things, in terms of finding my old self, and that's been the best part of my journey at Hell. And looking forward to welcoming all of you into this college. See you soon, guys. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.